Daily Devotion with Pastor Balla for June 13th, 2020 from Judges chapter 16, Samson and Delilah. Let's start with verse 4. After this, he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. And the lords of the Philistines came up to her and said to her, "Seduce him, and see where his great strength lies, and by what means we may overpower him, that we may bind him to humble him. And we will give you 1,100 pieces of silver." 1,100 pieces of silver was a lot of silver. Some people have speculated that that would have lasted Delilah about 15 years. What would you do if someone would give you 15 years of wages? Samson knew that Delilah was after his secret. So he made up things just to sort of toy with her. King Solomon, hundreds of years after Samson, would write in Proverbs chapter 4, verse 14, "Do not enter the path of the wicked, and do not walk in the way of the evil. Avoid it. Do not go on it. Turn away from it and pass on." Samson, however, did not avoid Delilah. Samson was strong and mighty, but strangely enough, he couldn't control his very own lusts. Verse 17, "And he told her all his heart, and said to her, A razor has never come upon my head, for I have been a Nazarite to God from my mother's womb. If my head is shaved, then my strength will leave me, and I shall become weak and be like any other man." Delilah cut his hair, hence breaking the vow between Samson and God. Samson was then captured, tortured, humiliated, even had his eyes gouged out. Verse 23, "Now the lords of the Philistines gathered to offer a sacrifice to Dagon, their god, and to rejoice. And they said, Our God has given Samson, our enemy, into our hand." The same lords who promised to pay Delilah 1,100 pieces of silver for a secret to Samson's strength now boldly proclaim that their God gave Samson into their hand. Talk about a fake God. Verse 27, "Now the house was full of men and women. All the lords of the Philistines were there, and on the roof there were about 3,000 men and women who looked on while Samson entertained." Keep in mind that the Lord of the Philistines were their leaders, a very powerful and at this point very strategic audience. Verse 28, "Then Samson called to the Lord and said, O Lord God, please remember me, and please strengthen me only this once, O God, that I may be avenged on the Philistines for my 2 eyes." And Samson grasped the 2 middle pillars on which the house rested, and he leaned his weight on them, his right hand on the one and his left on the other. Verse 30, "And Samson said, Let me die with the Philistines. Then he bowed with all his strength, and the house fell upon the lords, and upon all the people who were in it. So the dead whom he killed at his death were more than those whom he had killed during his life." Even though Samson's relationship with God was destroyed because of lust, God forgives. In the midst of our own lives, we, like Samson, have sinned. But even in the midst of our sin, God still forgives and has mercy. God uses Samson's death to bring a devastating blow to the Philistines. In our own moments of weakness, we need to remember to call upon the Lord for forgiveness and mercy. Join me again tomorrow as we hear about someone called Micah and the silver. God's peace and many blessings be with you. Thank you for watching, and please take an opportunity to share this video with others. If you have enjoyed these daily devotions, please consider making a donation to Peace Lutheran Church, 24024 West Main Street, Plainfield, Illinois, 60544. Thank you again for watching.